Anti-Afro, Spingalies. There are times when you say something and then you backtrack and you reconsider what you said or what you did. But in this instance, it's about what you said. You may decide to revisit, modify, explain, reframe your statement. Nothing wrong with that. You may decide based on a reaction someone has had to a statement that you've made that, something, I can see how that might be taken in a certain way, although it's not what I meant, but I can kind of see how it could have been taken a certain way. I can see that. And you might decide to make some changes, or you might decide to keep the statement up and address the issue and provide the clarity. Now, YouTube does provide people who host channels that option, provided that the statement isn't violating YouTube guidelines. Now, what am I referring to? I'm referring to a statement, this is about a week or so ago, that Rev G had posted on his channel, and it was tongue-in-cheek and made reference to spoiled breast milk. It was addressing one of the stalkers and one of the harassers and or their associates and flunkies. And the subjects decided to tie it to the rankly unwashed sex toy peddler who recently had a baby. So, of course, when there is nothing, there will always be a search for something. So there's this big deal made about it. So Rev G decided to do the reframe and acknowledged just what I stated a few seconds ago. But I do find it quite interesting. Very ironic. I'm not surprised. Nonetheless, there hasn't been any reframe. There hasn't been any revisit. There hasn't been any acknowledgement. None whatsoever about the crimes that were perpetrated with the Social Security numbers. No regrets, no reframe, no revisit, no acknowledgement of accepting stolen Social Security information, coming on YouTube and posting it. And this goes for those who participated in that and their flunkies and those who sat on their pages. As I said, there will be a search for anything when there is nothing. Now I want to make sure I make this clear. I am no way in hell ever expecting, not ever going to hold my breath for any subject that was involved with the Social Security theft, passing around the information, committing more crimes. Never in a million years would I ever hold my breath waiting for any such acknowledgement, admission, reframe, regret of wrongdoing. I do want to emphasize, the rankly unwashed sex toy peddler don't have any problem with DJ Jackass Antonio Johnson and what he did. And as a matter of fact, she and her husband felt bad when he was exposed and got fired. You can feel however you want to feel. But here's the question that has always continued to be placed at the forefront. The question will never leave. I guess, in a sense, it's rhetorical. And this is specifically for the rankly unwashed sex toy peddler, how the hell do you speak on someone you don't know a damn thing about? And yes, I'm talking about how you got your channel popping. You're over there thinking you feel good because you're getting support, that these idiots are pumping you up like you have been offended, that you have been aggrieved about this comment about spoiled breast milk. You got your channel popping. And you remember how you got your channel popping? You spoke on someone you didn't know shit about. And I'd like to know, how in the hell do you pull that off? And if you forgot, I'll remind you, they weren't even paying attention to this unwashed, rankly sex toy peddler until she came up and earned her spot by calling Rev G Dusty. Oh, don't make any mistake about it. This is related to the comments about spoiled breast milk. Although her comment about Rev G and this Dusty comment was a few years back, there is a correlation. The nerve of this fool to speak on someone she knows nothing about. But I tell you what, I'm a lot closer to being accurate about. That baby you just gave birth to testing positive for alcohol and drugs. I'm a lot closer making that statement than you ever would be calling my friend Dusty. And that's based on what comes out of your mouth. You habitually use drugs and alcohol. What evidence do you have that Rev G was ever any kind of Dusty? None. You said it because you wanted to curry favor with these freaks. Now, this unwashed sex toy peddler can't handle any blowback. I don't give a damn what you think about what I just said. Just like you didn't give a damn that you got up here and called my friend Dusty, who you don't know a damn thing about. But this unwashed sex toy peddler would get up here in these YouTube streets and make it very clear she couldn't function unless she had alcohol in front of her. This unwashed, rankly sex toy peddler told the story about how she was ready to go to blows at Walmart because there was some snafu about purchasing liquor. Whatever happened, I don't know, the computer went down or there was something about an ID or something. A couple of things were happening and she's ready to go to blows over some damn liquor. Talks about how much pot she smokes. Refers to her lips. This is coming out of her mouth. Don't ever look at me about it. She's saying it. That she smokes so much pot that her lips are black. That's coming out of your mouth. So my statement is a lot closer than yours ever could be in terms of what you said about Rev G to get your channel popping. And you up here thinking you scored some victory because he made a comment about spoiled breast milk. As for Dusty comparison, let's speak facts. This unwashed sex toy peddler and Rev G are both married. Even prior to this latest child being born, they both had children. I don't know how many children this unwashed sex toy peddler had. I know at least one. Both married. There's a big difference though. Rev G did not go out and pick up these dudes or women, whoever else you want to call, and bring them home to knock boots with his wife. That's what your husband did. So where do you get off calling Rev G Dusty? Going out to get random strangers, or she claims they were her friends. Bullshit. As if that would make a damn difference. Think about this, folks. They were friends. Guess what? Spouses give each other HIV every single day. It don't make a damn bit of difference whether you know somebody. The only difference it makes is that you're having sex outside of your marriage or outside of your relationship. That's how you catch a sexually transmitted infection, and one you can't ever cure. How ignorant can you get? This is people that we know, and I don't even believe it. Now, this is all coming out of her mouth, and she's calling who Dusty? I'll tell you something else that she was running around telling her business. She's on YouTube saying this. I'm simply repeating what came out of your mouth. The unwashed sex toy peddler, that your mama was a Pentecostal worshiper who ran around town getting busy with men and women. I can guarantee you Rev G's mother engaged in no such behavior. And you're calling who Dusty? Because you needed to get your channel jumping and popping. You want to talk about my friend, and you want to pass judgment. You don't know anything about Rev G, but you opened up your damn mouth because you wanted to curry some favor with some freaks. And now you think you got some support over there and they're pumping you up. You are someone who needs to keep your damn mouth shut because you can't handle anybody rightfully coming back at your ass. All your slick comments that you've made over these years that we primarily ignored. This is one bizarre subject who literally got on a live stream. You said your husband was light skinned. You're a dark skinned woman. And you said you were mad at your husband because your kid did not come out light skinned. This is not the kid, the recent kid, the other kid. And you're calling who Dusty? What parent talks like that? You got the nerve judging anybody else making some crazy ass statement like that. And you up here acting like you better than somebody, that you can call somebody Dusty, who was a family man, who doesn't bring freaks into his marriage, sexually into his marriage, bringing people into his home like you do, where you have a kid. Again, I don't know how many kids she had before she had this baby. You bring strangers, or if they're not strangers, anybody else into your home to knock boots when you have kids there. That's safe? And you're calling who Dusty? That's protective? And you're calling who Dusty? You think you're better because this is the behavior that you engage in? You damn right I'm judging you. I'm judging you from A to Z because you opened up your mouth, but you're up here supplying us with all this information about you. I can guarantee you my friend don't engage in any of the bullshit, dangerous bullshit, reckless bullshit that you indulge in. Doesn't even consume alcohol. And you're up here on YouTube saying you can't even function, you can't even do a live stream, and you can't even get busy with your husband unless you got liquor, or get busy with anybody unless you got liquor in your system. And who's Dusty? That's what it's worth to you? You got to say and do this shit, and you think you can say what you can say, whatever you say, and nobody can say anything back to you. I don't care if you don't like what I'm saying. Like, we approve of what you've been saying about us. And you say shit about us just to curry favor. That's some weak bullshit. I'm just giving back to you the crap that came out of your mouth. And that my statements have a high likelihood of accuracy, a lot more likelihood of accuracy than yours. And I'm basing it on what came out of your mouth. You want to take inventory of who I'm dealing with? You want to talk about Dusty over here when you're running around with a recalcitrant incorrigible who caught the first felony at 19? Let me say this. First adult felony at 19. I seriously doubt that's the first felony. Has once again found himself on probation. In the interim, choking out women in front of children, threatening to delete them, threatening revenge porn, posting pictures on the internet directed towards AFW with knives and guts. That's a threat of violence. That's who you're hanging out with? That's who you're proud of? And you want to call who Dusty? And shout out to those who have criminal justice engagement and are actually reformed or on their way there. Always want to make sure I acknowledge that. But what you're dealing with over there ain't it. And you're running around with and kissing the ass of Antonio Johnson, who was lurking into computers, looking up folks without permission, receiving stolen Social Security information and passing it around, and you felt sorry that he lost a job. Who you calling Dusty? You know what? I'm acknowledging it's a free country, but don't ever forget that goes both ways. You want to open up your mouth, run your mouth and talk shit about people you don't know anything about? Guess what? I will open up my mouth and I will run my mouth and talk all about you, what I do know about. So go right ahead. Say whatever the hell you want to say. You have spoken so much slick shit about us for years. If I decide it's time for me to address you and your bullshit, and you speaking on us, you don't know jack shit about us, you're speaking on my friend, calling my friend Dusty, who you know nothing about, I can speak on you, and I'm a lot more accurate than you ever will be. Listen, folks, you know I got more coming your way. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.